Bienvenidos todos a una nueva entrevista de la serie La visión de los CEOs. Estos diálogos que organizamos desde ECH tienen como objetivo conocer la visión de un grupo de líderes de la industria auxiliar de recursos humanos que nos darán su opinión sobre el futuro de la función de recursos humanos y de las formas de trabajo. Consideramos que precisamente en estos momentos sus opiniones pueden ser especialmente útiles para todos nosotros. Hoy tengo el placer de presentaros a Armin Hopp. Armin es presidente y cofundador de SPEEXX y tiene más de 30 años de experiencia en aprendizaje y desarrollo y en el campo de la tecnología. Es un conferenciante habitual en seminarios y conferencias internacionales y contribuye a los principales blogs de aprendizaje y desarrollo y en las revistas de recursos humanos de todo el mundo. Además, y es muy relevante, recientemente fue votado entre las 10 personas más influyentes en la industria europea del e-learning. Es un enorme placer para nosotros recibirle. Hello, Armin. Welcome and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very delighted to be on this. Thanks. Hello.
En los últimos tiempos, en los tiempos que vivimos en estos momentos, se están produciendo cambios profundos en brevísimos espacios de tiempo. Y las personas y las organizaciones, la verdad es que están demostrando una gran capacidad de adaptación. Sin duda alguna, el proceso de transformación digital del que venimos hablando desde hace tanto tiempo es hoy ahora, y más que nunca, uno de los que más se ha visto impactado por la situación en la que estamos en este momento. Nuestra pregunta es, Armin, ¿qué ha cambiado en los procesos de transformación digital como consecuencia de la situación actual?
That's a very good question. So we feel that the pandemic situation really is something like someone pushed the fast forward button on digital transformation. What we expected to happen within years to come is now happening within weeks. So fast. We were talking about a fast life before the pandemic. It's gone up to such a speed. It's unbelievable. So we're now talking to each other at the end of May 2020. It's still the pandemic. It's still going on. When you look at the stock market, for example, Zoom, the video conferencing software is now worth more than all the airlines in Europe. And it came from $2 billion. It's now worth 300 billion. So the world has changed from business travel to digital business communication within 3 months, basically. The communication, the companies, especially as knowledge workers, have moved to working from home within a couple of days, and I don't really think that this will come back to normal within the next couple of years, actually, because you can see that Facebook, for example, they announced that 50% of their workforce will keep working from home even after the pandemic. In Germany, there is a legislation going on for the right to work from home. So there will be a big change, a big paradigm shift in the way we work and in the way we interact and communicate. I think the necessity is the mother of invention. See, once something really big happens, invention happens as well. And digital transformation is a way of achieving innovation at scale. And I believe that the future workplace, really, if you look at what Facebook, for example, even my company or what we're doing here at the moment, the future workplace will be a combination of some location, office, whatsoever, and a digital workplace from home. But still, I see that large organizations are highly resistant to any procedural change. The bigger the organizations are, the more resistant they are. But I also think that change is being pushed by crisis, and this is just the sort of crisis that really pushes for change. In our business reality at SPEEXX, I see that smaller companies are moving much faster. Also, smaller entities and units of large corporations are moving faster. Some industries and verticals are moving very fast. But for example, if you look at China, for us, it's a bit like looking into the future. We have an office in China. They're like 6-8 weeks ahead of us with the pandemic situation. So business is picking up again there. And you see that lots of those workers still work from home. The communication channels have completely changed. It's not like you travel to Beijing all the time anymore. It's totally normal now to have a video conference, and that is in a culture where people have to sit in a restaurant and eat before they actually do business. It's changed within a couple of months, really. I think one other thing with the digital transformation and the change we are seeing at the moment is in the educational system at large. It's not only corporate education, it's the educational system at large. You see that Cambridge University, for example, they just cancelled face-to-face till 2021. They just don't go back to class. They will do everything online, then others will probably follow in the US and in Europe as well. And on the other hand, in my country, for example, I see that schools, primary and secondary schools, find it very hard to adopt digital training, homeschooling. I think it's about the same experience we have everywhere in the world, that schooling seems to be a bit adverse to digitalization. So I think that corporate training, from what I see, corporate training can really lead the way here. Corporate training has lots of experience collected already in the past, and now with this speeding up through digital transformation, we can see that corporate training is now sort of the blueprint for education at large, establishing technology rules, privacy, data privacy rules, and everything that is needed around this as a framework. So I think that the educational system can really learn from the corporate world about agile adoption of new technologies. And finally, I think the digital transformation, what's really driving it is artificial intelligence. It's many enterprises, I feel, will be working to use artificial intelligence at scale now to virtualize how people interact. That's mostly, you can't do this in a factory. Factories do have different requirements. Now they just have to keep social distancing. But for knowledge workers, I think the virtualization of work will give a big push to artificial intelligence, because somehow the interaction has to be guided and structured. Simple example that I don't think that this shoulder-to-shoulder kind of working will come back as we had it in at SPEEXX. We would all meet in front of the coffee machine and talk. There is no coffee machine at the moment. We're all sitting at home. We have virtual coffees, and so the shoulder-to-shoulder thing is at least gone for the next year or so. If you look at co-working spaces, for example, they were the hot thing 4 months ago. Everyone wanted to work in a co-working space. It was cool. Now everybody's talking about digital co-working spaces. Don't go to the office anymore, have a digital working space. So, and I think that AI will play a major role in this. And AI, artificial intelligence, will also play a major role in learning, because we'll have to replace this in-class and this personal interaction in front of coffee machines and by something else. And I think artificial intelligence will play a big role in there.
Efectivamente, la actual situación está impulsando la necesidad de reinventar e impulsar, además, y por todo esto, modelos alternativos a los presenciales. En gran parte, o en la mayoría de las actividades que desarrollamos de manera general. Por eso me gustaría saber tu opinión y profundizar en ello en el campo específico del e-learning, donde eres un experto. ¿Cuál es la oportunidad para las soluciones de aprendizaje digital en esta situación?
For SPEEXX, it's pretty obvious. And for providers like SPEEXX, it's not only SPEEXX, it's basically every provider for digital learning solutions. There are better ones and less good ones, and I believe that SPEEXX is among the better ones, of course. We're at the heart of the digital workplace, and this is where those people, basically everyone working from home, is now falling back to. They have a digital workplace like I have here, like the one you're sitting in front of in Spain at the moment. So I believe that digital learning environments help a lot to actually adopt the digital workplace. SPEEXX is a digital language skills assessment and training solution for a global workforce. So we only work for corporations. Our platform is totally cloud-based, so it's available everywhere. So we can replace face-to-face training. Every provider can replace face-to-face training or add to face-to-face training wherever it is needed. I believe that moving forward, the old paradigm of face-to-face training in a room will change because not as many people can be in a room. At the moment, there are strict regulations and restrictions on that. So I think the combination of what we're doing and any kind of face-to-face is what's coming, what's ahead of us. So there will be no real way back to normal. I strongly believe that working from home starts with learning from home. That's one very essential thing, because everything that's new now has to be learned somehow at your workplace at home, if you're working at home. So, and I think there, the basic and most important skill that we need today is communication skills. Sit in front of a camera, dress decently, know how to interact. And thinking this is what a digital learning platform can actually bring to people. So digital learning is in itself is a platform for actually practicing daily work now. So this is the actual daily work situation. So we embed the whole platform into the flow of work. We provide performance support at the very moment of need. I totally believe that digital performance support is something that we will see a great need for with lots of us working from home. Just give you an example, we do writing skills training for our customers where they get feedback on written communication. We do video skills training, so you sit in front of the camera and get artificial intelligence-based feedback on how you act in front of the camera, whether you're using the right wording, this kind of stuff. So we're moving lots of the things that good teachers can do in a classroom. We're moving to a digital workspace and workplace. And of course, there's artificial intelligence, just as I mentioned. I think that it will play a significant role in learning because it helps to tailor learning resources to the needs of preferences of each learner. So artificial intelligence will play a big role in being part of the entire training setup. Then there is another thing, I think that digital learning providers are simply faster than traditional providers. We don't have to print books, for example, so we can act immediately. I'll give you an example. We just created, a couple of weeks ago, we created a working from home crash course in English, and we gave it away for free to all our customers, to large organizations across all the world, because we felt that there was a big need for workers in large organizations to actually get used to the technology. It's not just talking in front of the camera and feeling comfortable in front of the camera. It's just getting the camera to work just the way we did it. We had to do it a couple of minutes ago when my camera didn't work. So this is all stuff that we provide, and we provided this course within a couple of days, basically rolled it out, and we have hundreds of thousands of users across the world now practicing working from home communication and communication skills while working from home with a free resource that we gave them. We released a thing that we call Exchange Series, where we provide a guided video communication platform for users to exchange their experience with the new situation. They can talk about COVID. They have a moderator, a tutor that will help them express themselves. They can talk about COVID. They can talk about technology issues, basically everything that's really moving them. So we're constantly creating new formats within following the needs of our customers and our users within that digital platform. I think that's one of the main advantages for all digital providers, that we're pretty fast in reacting to requirements. Again, we don't have to print a book, we can just do it, push it out there and see if it works. And in this case, it worked for a couple of 100,000 people. So face-to-face training, I think, will change even after the pandemic. And at the moment, I think we're there to fill the gap, and we have the technology to do that.
Vamos a ir por, si os parece, a la última pregunta. Ahora es un momento excepcional para impulsar los modelos de formación en entornos digitales. y que se pueda percibir todo esto realmente con todo el valor que es capaz de dar para desarrollar las competencias de las personas. Creemos que es un momento excepcional, precisamente por eso, como comentabas también, para impulsar entornos digitales de aprendizaje. Por eso nos gustaría saber tu opinión. ¿Cómo podemos fomentar la confianza en las soluciones de aprendizaje digital?
Well, I believe that many organizations will come into the post-pandemic reality with what we call the new normal, with a much stronger corporate culture, because from my observation, our staff and people all across the world are actually moving closer together, and they're using digital means to find new ways of expressing themselves and discussing things. And in the educational system, I feel, and it seems that some organizations, schools, are still more scared of the GDPR data privacy than they are afraid of Corona. But I think this will change. Schools will go digital, and we will see growing acceptance with higher education moving to remote learning. So I think that, as we discussed earlier, organizations like Cambridge University just saying we're doing everything online will give a big push to the acceptance of digital learning at large. Now, I also see there's a bit of reluctance to using artificial intelligence, and I'm pretty sure there needs to be clear rules on what artificial intelligence actually is and what it does and what it is allowed to do, and transparency about that. I believe in Europe we do have a clear framework and rules for data privacy, so I believe that this is a good foundation for trust in any digital solution and digital learning as well. What I also see is, with the move to learning from home, is a clear need for a system for reliable badges and accreditations, credentials to give credit to whatever someone is learning at home. We are not going to classes anymore, so someone has to actually say this and certify that what we have done is right and is certifiable, and it builds to a skills portfolio and adds to skills portfolio. There are lots of initiatives going on that open badges, the European Portfolio 2.0. There's an organization called the International Council of Badges and Credentials, and they're all working towards this end. And finally, as for the acceptance of digital learning, all I can say that the usage of SPEEXX has gone up more than 400% since beginning of February, when the whole thing started in China. So there doesn't seem to be too much of reluctance, at least at users of SPEEXX. And talking to my colleagues in the industry, I see the same thing happening everywhere. So they have a much higher adoption now of learning resources everywhere. I told you about the working from home resource we created, a couple of 100,000 users for that. So for me, this is the biggest sign of trust, actually, that people are using this and increasingly using this in the time of crisis.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Do you want to offer a few closing words?
Well, I'm just very happy to be part of this and very grateful for the invitation to talk here. On a personal note, I think that Spain has done a terrific job in this pandemic, and we've been looking at this from the outside. So I keep fingers crossed that everything's going well for you. As for digital learning, I think this is a big push for everything related to digital dissemination of knowledge. I'm pretty positive and optimistic for the future of SPEEXX to this end.
Sure. Thank you very much, Armin. Muchas gracias a todos por seguir esta entrevista. Espero veros en la próxima, que será en breve también, y cuidaros mucho todos. Hasta pronto.